Yeah, let's start with the securities today. Okay. Uh, in this part, see if you open the browser, right? We open your browser, and this is your Tomcat server. Okay. In this Tomcat server, whenever you click on this manager app, okay, it's asking to enter some credentials of some user. Okay. I've entered some credentials. What are these credentials? Even I don't remember. Let me check them out. Okay. See, if you go to Tomcat home directory, okay, here we have a directory called config directory. Okay, cd config directory. There you have all a file called tomcat users.xml. Okay, vi tomcat users.xml. See, this is the file where we create users for our Tomcat server. Okay, so here we not created any users, no issues. So we'll create users now. So here, see, it is rejecting me. Okay, so showing that you're not enter the right credentials. Okay, whenever you click on cancel, just see, you see something, right? You see something here, some page here. So this page, if you look at here, you see, if you want to log into that, first of all, it is asking to enter. It is asking to create some users and user credentials on its Tomcat server. Okay, but how do you create is here. So you just copy this. Okay, just copy this and then paste it within your Tomcat users.xml. So what is this is all about is, see, first create a user, okay, and the username, okay, and assign some role to that particular user. Assign a role to that particular user. See, this role is a manager GUI role. Look at here. This is a role is manager GUI role. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of this role? Is, so if we are going to manage some applications within our Tomcat server. So if you want to assign some permissions to the user within Tomcat server, then the user needs to have the manager GUI roles if he wants to manage your applications. What do you mean by managing applications? We have seen that, right? See, user has to start or stop or deploy some applications. Okay, yeah. So if user wants to do such kind of applications or such kind of okay, or else let me show you this now. We have this server running. Yeah. So look at here. This is a server, and this is the version is 9.0. Manager app here, Tomcat, and then credentials. Okay, login. See, this is your Tomcat manager application. Manager application. Okay. So in this, you see the list of applications, right? Here, the list of applications you see. Okay. These are all the applications. Okay. See, our application which we are working have been is Jenkins application we have been working on, and then sample.bar. So we'll see what is this later on. Now, but by default, the docs slash examples host manager and the manager. Okay, see, these applications comes by default for Tomcat. So every option whatever you see within this list, that is an application for Tomcat, but those are default applications. Okay, understand this point now? So if you want, you can start or stop. For example, stop it. Okay, and then so look at here you see a message called stop. Application has been stopped. If you want to start it, you can start it. Okay, so it's been started. So which application it is? Sample.var file. So var application has been started. Okay, if you want to click on this, just click on this application. This is the application. Okay, and you see the path, right? You see that is your path. Now, so if you want to reload, you can reload or undeploy. You can undeploy, and session times you can set all these things now. But if you want to deploy your applications through manager GUI application, like through this page, if you want to deploy applications through this page, you can also do this part. See, what I'm saying is, if you remember, how did we deploy our Jenkins application? What did we do? How did we deploy it? Yeah, we just copied that application, right? We just copied Jenkins application into Tomcat web apps directory. Okay, but instead of doing that, okay, if you want to upload your application through this page, through UI page, user interface, you can also do that as well. Choose a file here. You can choose a file, and then once choose that file, select the particular file, and then once you do that, just click on deploy. Simple. Okay, application will be deployed. So you can deploy your applications through the manager app as well, manager GUI app as well. Okay, now, but how do you how do you enter into this page? That is important for us. How do you enter into this page? See, if you have proper user credentials, okay, and if the user is having a proper role, then only you can manage this kind of applications. If he does not have proper roles, then he can't manage it. Okay, see, that is what you see here. You see authorized error. Okay, so whenever you click on this, if you don't enter any user credentials, then it shows the error like this, and it gives the help as well. How do you set it up and where do you set it up? Okay, now you see this, right? Within the config file, we have so and so file, Tomcat config file, Tomcat users.xml. In that file, just go with this. Okay, here first what do you see here? The role name, right? The role name is manager GUI. So first define the role name, and then after that create a username, and then user password, and assign the roles to the particular user. Then user will be having this particular role. Clear? But where do we do this? Sorry. Yeah, where do we do this? Yeah, config file within the config directory, right? So within the config directory, so now here, this is how it looks like initial. Okay, now if you look at here, see this, right? Everything is a comment in this file. Everything is a comment. Okay, look at here. These are comments, the comments, the comments. Everything is a comment. See, even in this, for example, look at these roles, right? They are given some examples as well. They are given some examples. How do you create a user? How do you assign permissions? Okay, and then role, so and so. They are given some examples as well. Okay, just follow the same examples, whatever it is mentioned, or else you can copy and paste these two lines. Okay, so just after this, enter. Now here you create your first, what is that? Role name. Okay, is equals to manager. Is it UI or GUI? That's GUI. Yeah, it's GUI. That's the role name. First define the role name, and then after that create a user. Now create a user, and then assign that particular role to that user. Okay, so username. Okay, and then some username, no issues, whatever it is. I want to create some user called Tomcat user. Okay, and then password, some password. Okay, and then roles, I want to assign manager GUI role. See, this is the role which we are assigning now is manager GUI role. So like this, we have one more role as well, which is deploy. What is that? Yeah, deploy user, I guess. Yeah, there's one more role called deploy user or deployer, I guess. One second. Deployer, yeah, sorry, manager script, sorry. So if you want to deploy, say as of now we are using this role. Okay, we're using this role to manage our applications, but see I want to deploy an application to this Tomcat server, but from where? From Jenkins. By using Jenkins, I want to deploy an application to this Tomcat server. See, if you want to deploy any applications, first of all, you need to have a user created within this application, and then give this user credentials within Jenkins. Okay, so we'll see that later on. As of now, so the role which we are using is manager GUI role. Manager GUI role. Okay, and then save this file. CD. Just restart it. See, we are going to restart the server. The reason is we have, yeah, we have done some configuration level changes. See, if any application is changed, or else if you want to restart any application, do not restart your server. Just restart only the particular application. But how do you restart particular application? Sorry? Yeah. So within this manager app, here you have option to restart, stop, or so. So if you restart server, all the applications will be started. So do not restart your server. Now, manager app, here, Tomcat, and then Tomcat. No, we given Tomcat, right? Which server we are working on? 232, right? We're working on 232 or 1 second. Yeah, we are working on 232, correct? Password is Tomcat, right? Tomcat and then Tomcat. 232, yeah. See, sometimes this server won't be started properly. So let me restart server again. Okay. So let me check, are there any syntax errors or so and so. Yeah, you see this? Okay, that's a one issue. Let me check out any other issues. Yeah, that's one more thing. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Oh, you mean this? Yeah. Okay. Fine. Any other errors? No. Okay. So, so is how you see. So look at here. Here you see the Jenkins application. Now, if you want to start or stop, you can do this. You can control everything of your. You have the control of your applications. Okay. Now, see, this is a security what we are providing, but this is a server level security, right? The security we are provided server level. But see, how about application level? See, we are working on Jenkins application, right? See, for example, if I provide a URL like this, so those whoever is having this URL, right, they can start working on this particular application. They can start accessing this application, right? But that should not happen. Okay, so we need to restrict only some particular people, some set of people needs to access this application. And then see, of course, for example, I have a team of 4 or 5 members, 4 or 5 members of DevOps team. Okay, now in this in my particular team, so I want to restrict that I have some juniors, I have some seniors as well. Okay, see, juniors need not to have access to entire application. Okay, for example, so we were creating some slave nodes, right? We are creating some slave nodes. So I don't want to give such kind of access to the junior user. Junior user should not have access to create some slaves. He can, if he wants, he can stop and start some slaves that he can do. Okay, or else I have one more user. Okay, and that user I want to make him as a administrator. Okay, and administrator obviously he will be having all kind of access to the entire Jenkins application. Or else I have one more user. Okay, I have one more user saying that only that user has to have access to project 1 and should not have access to project 2 jobs. Clear? See, for example, I have 2 users now. Just say I have user 1, so he's kind of a junior user. Okay, since he's a junior user, I don't want to give him, I want to assign him only to start or stop your slaves, but not to create it, not to create any slaves. Okay, so he cannot create any slave machine. Okay, and moreover, okay, so this user, he'll be having access to only project 1. So what do you mean by project 1? See, here we have some jobs, right? Here we have some jobs. Okay, now in these jobs I have some set of jobs. For example, let's just take first 4 jobs. This one, these first 4 jobs, these first 4 jobs belongs to my project 1. Okay, now, and these jobs only should be visible to that particular junior user. and other 4 jobs should not be visible to the junior user. So I want to restrict him on the particular job level. Clear? Am I clear? Right. So you can do such kind of restrictions. You can do such kind of restrictions. Okay. Or else, for example, I have one more user. Okay. As some a new joiner. As a new joiner. Okay. User has joined it. Since he has joined it newly, so obviously we don't provide him all access to whatever the application it is. We don't provide him all the access. So what kind of access I want to provide him is, I want to provide him only the read access of all the jobs. So we have project 1 and the project 2. Okay, we have project 1 and then project 2. We have these 2 different projects. I want to assign him all the project jobs to him, but I want to access him. I want to assign only the read access to all the jobs, not to build a job, or not to configure a job, or not to look into any kind of log files. He can read all the jobs, no issues, but he won't be able to run the jobs, or he won't be able to configure it, or he won't be able to look into the log files of the particular job. Okay, so how do we set such kind of permissions to user within Jenkins? That comes under the user access control or user securities. Okay, see, the first part we have seen was the Tomcat server level security, and the second, now we are looking into Jenkins application level securities. Okay, now, so let's look into this part first. I need some plugins. So I'm just looking for those plugins. Plugin is not available. Let's install that plugin first. So manage Jenkins. So here, manage plugins. The plugin which we want to use is the role-based authorization plugin. Okay, available. So with the help of this plugin, what we're going to do is, see, first we're going to create some roles. First, we're going to create some roles. See what a role consists, what a role contains. What is the purpose of a role?
Restrict the access.
Yeah. So the role contains some set of access. Role contains some set of access. First, we create roles first. Okay. Then, what we do after that, we create some users as well. We create users first. We create roles then. Okay. After that, what we do, we assign these roles to our users based upon his level of access. Okay. So we'll do this part. Now the plugin is role based. Yeah. This is the plugin. This is a plugin. I want to install it. Role based authorization strategy. install it. See this particular plugin, right? See this works fine within 2.7 version. Okay, but if you go with the 2.6 version, see this is, see we are working on two versions. Okay, just want to remind you. So 2.7 version now, and then here we have one more version is 2.6 version. Okay, I just want to show you this as well. Now, so here if you go to manage plugins available, so you look at these errors, right? You see this, right? So most of the plugins, okay, within 2.6 they don't work. See this, they work based on 2.6, not even 2.6, 2.6.0.3. After 03, after 3 version 60.03. Okay, just want to remind you. Okay, because so that's why I don't recommend 2.6 version. Look at here, this one as well, right? The role based plugin. So this works best on after 60.1 version. 60.1 version. Okay, so even if you want to install it, this won't be installed, that won't be installed. Okay, so that's why start working on 7 or latest versions, 7 or 8, not more than that. So let me check whether it's installed properly or not. Should be installed actually. Yeah, so that is installed. Okay, so once it is installed, okay, what you do next is you go to manage Jenkins. Here your option configure global security. So I'm just going to enable the securities now. Here it is, by default is disabled. Okay, let me enable this now. Once you enable this, okay, see here you have some options. The first is security name, okay, and the second is authorization. Now, so what is the security rim is the first one. Okay, see we have an option to delegate to servlet container and Jenkins user. See this second option, okay, is helpful. For example, we create some users within Jenkins, right? We create users within Jenkins. I'm going to create users within this application, Jenkins application, right? Then once I create the users within Jenkins, I'm going to assign permissions to those users. That is your, that's why it says Jenkins own user database. Jenkins own user database. Okay. Now, so actually we should have one more thing here as well. Like you don't see this, we don't see that option actually. So there must be one more option called, okay, and import the users from LDAP servers. Import users from LDAP servers. See these options changes from version to version, but I'm giving you an idea here. So there must be one more option called import the users from LDAP servers. So what is this LDAP servers? Anyone? LDAP servers. So for example, so every organization uses some LDAP servers. Every organization uses some LDAP servers. What is the purpose of LDAP servers? See, these LDAP servers, on these LDAP servers, we maintain the entire employee information. The entire employee information. Okay, so here we'll be having the username or employee name, his email ID, whatever username and password and his entire information. Okay, now So instead of creating the users within Jenkins, okay, what we do is we import the users from this LDAP service. Sorry, yes, active lightweight active directories. Those are active directories. Okay, so from these active directories, our LDAP servers, what we do, we fetch that information. For example, I want to fetch a user called some username. Okay, now this user information is already available on our LDAP service. So whenever I select these options here, we get an option something called search for this user, so and so username, and from that server you need to have the server IP address as well, or server name. Then click on OK. Then this particular option will fetch the user information from that server. Then you can start using that user within Jenkins. Then he'll be user of Jenkins. Understand? So instead of creating users within Jenkins, what I do is I fetch some user information from LDAP service, search for the particular user information, and then add that user within Jenkins. Then you can see that information user within Jenkins. That is one more option. But usually we don't do that. The reason is, say, LDAP servers are very sensitive. No one will be having access to that LDAP access except very few applications. Say within organization we use some internal applications as well. Only those applications will be having access to LDAP service, not other servers. Like for example, we have a internal portal. For example, we have a company portal. So that's an application, right? That's an internal application. That portal will be having access to LDAP service. Okay. So, but Jenkins, I don't think so. I never say Jenkins they'll be giving access to LDAP servers. The reason is, see, you can create Jenkins users within here itself, and that is easy for us as well. Instead of fetching the users information from LDAP servers, because and moreover, see, we'll be how many users we'll be having? Hardly we'll be having around 10 users of Jenkins. So, and then so just for that particular user information, for particular 10 users, so they don't give access. Okay, right. So always we create users within Jenkins itself by using this option. Okay. Now, so here I select this option, and then here we have one more option called allow users to sign up. Allow users to sign up. Okay. Now that means any user can sign up to this application. That's one thing. And second, here, see, this is security part. Then comes authorization part. So we need to provide some authorization, right? Level of security in this part. Now here, if you look at here, we have some options here. The first is anyone can do anything. Anyone can do anything. See, firstly, what you do is you just go with this option first. Select this option, okay, and allow users to sign up. Just go with these two options by default initially for your application. Click on apply and then save. See, always use this apply button. If you click on save directly straight away, sometimes the settings won't be saved in Jenkins. So always do go for apply and then save. Okay. Now here you see this, right? Login and sign up. See, previously we didn't have these options, right? Now, so let's click on sign up now. Click on sign up now. Now, see, even if I don't sign up, okay, for example, did I log into this application yet? I'm not logged in, right? I'm not logged into this application, but still I can perform everything. If I click on this job, right? Can I build it? Yes, I have access to workspace. I can build it. I can configure it. I can delete it. I have all the access to the jobs. But still, see, we have not created any users yet, or else we are not assigned any permissions to the users yet. So why I'm able to see all these options is, if you remember, there we have given option called anyone can do anything. So that's why any user can do anything within your application. Now, so I first sign up now. So here I'm creating a user called some user. It does not have any kind of meaning yet. Some user. Username is admin. Okay, and some password. That's it. Okay. Now sign up is already taken. Why it is already taken? Let me check this out. Yeah, so it comes by default. See, if you look at here, see within this manager users, right? Okay, so this user comes by default. Okay, if you want, you can delete this user, no issues. You can delete this user. Okay, sorry, sure you want to delete it. Okay, yes, you can delete it, no issues. So this user has been deleted. Okay, now sign up now. But the user comes by default. Okay, so sign up. So we are logged in. So log in as administrator. Okay. See why that user comes by default? Anyone tell me?
But when you establish it, you can't log in.
Sorry.
When you establish
Yeah, correct. See, whenever we install that, right? Whenever we install Jenkins application, there. So initially you see the login page, right? Enter the password from secrets and so and so location. So there, once you enter the password, get the password from secrets directory and paste it here. There you can see at the top a message that your default user is administrator and the password is whatever the password that was. That's why the user comes by default. See all these options available in our latest versions like 2.4 onwards. So in the from previous versions, these kind of options were not there. Okay, so that is the reason. So even the previous versions, right, like 2.3 or 2.2 versions. Okay, whenever you log in, whenever you deploy your applications onto a server and start using the Jenkins application, straight away it shows your Jenkins dashboard. There are no options to enter the password so and so password from secrets directory. We didn't have those options at that time. Okay, so this is the reason why they have introduced this kind of options like enter the password. So whenever you enter the password, a user will be created, admin user within your Jenkins. Now, so see as of now, he is just a user now. He's just a user. He does not have any kind of level of access. We are not assigned any permissions yet. Okay, now let's assign some permissions to this user now. Okay, now here manage Jenkins global security. Now see, if you look at this authorization section, we have anyone can do anything, anyone can do anything, right? But that should not happen, right? Now here, look at here, we have an option, we have option called matrix based security. Matrix based security. See, we'll go with these few options now. Matrix based security. So within this matrix based security, what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to add a user called admin user which we have created. Okay, now just add this user. Now look at here, the user has been added. User has been added. See, by default you see these options: anonymous users as well as authenticated users. Who is authenticated user? When your Jenkins users. Jenkins users are authenticated users. Okay. Now that means those users who is having accounts on this Jenkins, those are authenticated users. Now, so firstly, but I don't want to go with these options. I want to restrict the users based upon the user, not on a entire group of level. Okay. Now here, first I want to restrict this user, admin user. See, since he is admin user, okay, I want to maintain him as an admin user. So I want to give him the entire level of access to Jenkins application. I'm going to make this user as an admin user now. Okay, so how do we do that is, see, firstly look at here, overall access, right? Just give administrator access. Okay, now he'll be our administrator. See, we have two access here. One is administrator, overall administrator. Other one is overall read access. See, if anyone wants to have if anyone wants, any user wants to have, wants to log in or wants to hack, wants to have access to this application, every user needs to have the read access. If the read access is missing, though he is having administrator access, he can't access this application. So overall read access for any user is must and should. It's mandatory. Okay. Now, so as of now, overall read access, administrator, and then read access for this particular administrator. Now, if you look at this anonymous user, who is anonymous users? Users don't have accounts within Jenkins; those are anonymous users. Okay. Now, so I want to give them here overall read access. They can read this application, no issues. Just let them read the applications. It's okay. Okay. Now, but that is only for anonymous users. Okay. Now, save this. Apply and then save. Now, if I log out, so now you see this, right? Now, here, see, did I log into this application now? I'm not logged in, right? I'm not logged in yet. Okay. Now, but still I see some options, right? Still I see some options. This is our dashboard. I can see the dashboard. Okay. Now, so but I have very few options. Okay, like people or so you can see some users, or you can see the history, or you can see the project so and so, some information. You can see some information, but not, this is not your entire Jenkins application. Okay. Now I'm logging in. So that means anonymous users. And one more thing is that, say we forgot to do this. Say sign up, right? We still have the sign up. See, I don't want to give sign up options to everyone. Clear? So why should the users create? See, this is not a social account. This is not a social website, right? This is our internal website. So every user should not have access to sign into this application, sign up to this application.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need to restrict this as well. I don't want to give the sign up option to every user. Okay. Now we'll see that now. See, I'm logging in back as a administrator. Now I'm an administrator. Now I have the access of this application. Again, manage Jenkins, securities. See this option, right? I want to uncheck this option. I don't want all the users to sign up. Okay. Now uncheck this option now. Okay, and then apply, and then save. Okay, and if you scroll down in this manage Jenkins option, here you have manage users. See, or else let me show you this first. Now I log out. So do you have sign up option now? No, we don't have sign up option. So only you can log in. But what if I want to create users now? So I have some users have joined into my team. Okay, they are joined. Okay, so whenever user joins into our DevOps team, obviously we give him some credentials, right? Then how do we do that? So first login, administrator. Yeah, here you need to create a user now. So how do you create users? Here, manage users. Okay. Now, so here we have option to create a user. Okay. Here, first I want to create a user called some junior user. Okay. That's the same password. Create user. Now the user is created. Okay. Now, once the user is created, obviously we assign some roles to that user, right? So how do we do that? Go to the MetaXpress security. Now within this add this user first, junior user, right? Now the user is added. Okay. Now, so first overall read access is must. And one more thing, I want to uncheck the overall read access for anonymous users. Okay, that's one thing. And then, so here we have options to here agent, job. Okay, now, so what is this agent? Agent is nothing but our slave machines. Okay, now, so this user, what he can do is he can uh, just give him okay to configure, not to configure. I don't want to give, just disconnect. Okay, and then no delete, connect, disconnect and connect. Okay, so two options, disconnect and then connect. You can connect it or else you can disconnect it. That's one thing. And the second thing is the job level. At the job level, okay, so within this job level you can build a job, no issues, but you cannot cancel this. You can build it but you cannot cancel this second one. And no configurations, no creation, no deletion now, but he needs to have the read access, right? The read access obviously, and then let him give the workspace access as well. Okay, so fine, let's apply, save, login now. Now you see I'm anonymous user, right? So do I see any options now? So previously we used to have some options like look at the history and the number of people. Okay, but even I don't see those options because anonymous users don't have the read access. Okay, now let's log in as junior user. Okay, now so he is a junior user now. Just click on this slave machine. Okay, so if you click on this slave machine, okay, now you see any options here like, one second, can you configure this? No, right? You cannot configure this, but what you can do, you can disconnect it, right? You can disconnect it or else you can connect it back, bring this node back online, but you cannot configure or you cannot create a node, right? Now, so first thing is done. And the second thing is at the job level. Look at this job level. Okay, now, so can he can build a job now. He can build a job, but can he cancel a job? He does not have any options to cancel it, and he is having access to workspace. And moreover, he cannot configure and he cannot delete a job. You don't have these options. You can only build the job. You can have access to workspace, not to any other things. Okay, see, but if you do these options, if you go these kind of options, what is the disadvantage we have? Yeah, correct, that's perfect. Okay, so now what we are doing here, we are creating a user first. Okay, and then once we create a user, what we are doing, we are assigning the permissions for each and every users, right? We are assigning the permissions for each and every user. For example, I have about 5 users. 5 users needs to have same kind of access. Then do we add these users within your permission sets, within your permissions? For example, let's look at here within this. So look at here, I want to have, see, I have about 5 users like junior 1 2 3 4 5. See, all these users need to have the same level of access, same level of access. Okay, if you want to assign the same level of access to these users, then what do we do? Enter the username, add, enter the username and add. And once you do that, what do? You assign the permissions like this, every user, right? So for example, I have one more user called junior 1, is not there, so that's why it shows is not there now. So like this I have about 5 users. So first we add these users, then after that what we do? We check these permissions, right? We check these permissions. Let's just check it and check it so and so. But that is not a proper way. This is not a proper way. So what is the right way? First what we do is we create a role first. We create a role for that particular user. Sorry, we create a role first. The role contains some set of permissions. Role contains some set of permissions. firstly I want to create a role called some role name is some junior role. So what this role has to have kind of permissions is, if you talk about the slave, you can disconnect it or else you can connect it. Okay, and then if you talk about the projects or the jobs, okay, at the job level, what you can do, you can build it. Yeah, and the workspace. Okay, what else? Just take to these two. See what I do. First, I create a role called junior role. This is just a role name. It does not have any meaning. It's just a role name, and the role has having some permissions, some set of permissions. Then what I do? Then I assign role to users. Assign the role to users. Okay. So this is the best way what we do. This is actually what we need to do. Okay. And one more thing is that, see, as we have seen this example, what is this? Yeah. See, we have two projects. Okay. We have two projects. We have two set of projects. Project one and then project two. See, project 2 means project is having about 5 jobs. Project is having about 5 jobs, and the one is having 5 jobs, and other is having the 4 jobs. See, we have 9 jobs in total. We have 9 jobs in total. Okay, and the first 5 jobs should be visible to only for the user called this user. Okay, what are they? Only for first project. Okay, and we have one more project, and this project should be visible to junior to user. See, in our present example, in our present role based, okay, in our present matrix based. See, matrix based is, see this option, right? Matrix based. Okay, this matrix based option gives you only the option to restrict what kind of actions he can perform on the particular job, but still is able to see all the jobs, right? Still the user is able to see all the jobs, but I don't want him even to give the view access of this particular set of jobs. I don't want to give him. Okay, that comes under your project based authorization. The second one, the project based authorization. Okay, this is our project based authorization. Okay, so in our next session, okay, we'll start with this first. We'll start with the project based. So once we finish this, then we'll enter into the role based. Okay, so we're going to these options. Okay, yeah. So thank you.